it's Lynn with Little Fit Nursery. I am here with reborn baby Zoe. She is the Zuri Realborn Asleep sculpt. Her artist is Samantha Rose-Harker. I bought this baby off of eBay. Gosh, I don't remember how long I've had her. Maybe over a year now. Maybe a year and a half. I'm not actually 100% sure. But I thought I would just hop on and do a video. And, a comment I got recently just thought it helped me think of a topic that I wanted to chat about today. And the topic is, really around reborn trades and why, I personally am not a fan of doing trades. I know that a lot of people have traded successfully, and that's great. But I thought I would just go ahead and chat a little bit about just my own thoughts on the topic, and definitely would love to hear about your experiences if you've had any successful trades with other collectors. But I'm going to go ahead and change Zoe out of this outfit, and she's going to put on this T collection romper. It's a 0 to 3 month size. It'll probably be a little bit big on her because she's really a true newborn, but I thought this would be a really pretty color on her, so thought I'd go ahead and do that. So I guess I think my issue with trades, okay, so for those of you guys who are new to the community or aren't sure what a trade is, basically it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when two different collectors each have a doll that they no longer want to keep in their collection, and they decide to trade with each other. So they would each send each other the doll. What's nice about that is you get a new baby in the collection, but you don't need to actually exchange any money to do the trade. So it's kind of like getting a new baby, but kind of like almost like a swap, right? So yeah, I know sometimes people have friends that they'll maybe do clothing swaps with and things like that. So it's that kind of similar idea, except it's with dolls. So I suppose, like, I think it can be a great idea if executed well and if both parties are happy. But I just feel like it can be a little bit risky if you don't know who you're dealing with. And so my personal preference is just to do an outright sale versus doing a trade. Okay, so I changed her into this, kind of not really realizing that, like, I did kind of forgot the back has a keyhole, so you can see her cloth body, which is not ideal. This is actually one reason people really like silicones, because the entire baby is silicone, so it's just a little bit more realistic. So, but it's okay. She's not going anywhere. We're just sheltering at home. So let me just lift her up and give her a hug. This baby is very, very realistic. She's a total sweetheart. She just and she, like, really looks very real. Like, I did take her to a Reborn Meet that we did here in Southern California. I don't know if this was a year ago, or it must have been a year ago, or maybe it might have been 2 years ago. I'm actually not 100% sure, but it was super fun, and I pushed her around in a stroller. I actually bumped into someone I knew. I don't know if you guys, those of you who've been watching me for a while, like, remember that whole situation, but that was kind of crazy. Yeah, there was, like, someone I bumped into who um, saw me with this doll, and I had to explain that I was a collector and I was going to a doll show and meeting up with some other collectors. So it was a little bit embarrassing, but anyway. But yeah, so I feel like with trades, if you and the other person both know each other well, and you really have to have total trust that that person is going to send you the doll, and maybe there's also more of a trust factor if they're well known in the community. I I personally think it can be kind of tricky, because, like, there have been, like, horror stories of, like, one person sending their doll and then they never getting the other person's doll in return and essentially getting scammed. So that is basically the thing you have to watch out for. The other thing that I worry about is I feel like it's hard to really have two dolls be exactly identical in value. And I know value is such a subjective thing, and people can kind of say, like, well, they need to be sort of like, there's, like, the prototype quality dolls, and they're the dolls that are maybe more intermediate, but it's like there's so many different things that go into that doll's value, and a lot of it is very subjective. So I just feel like it would be hard for two people doing a trade to kind of feel like they're each getting, they're getting a doll of like exact equal value. So that's the part I feel like is a little bit tricky. Like, you know, and because this is a hobby where there isn't really an independent third party appraiser, and it's not like, buying a manufactured doll where that price is set by somebody. So it's really not something that, like you can really, like, that determination of value is really subjective. So that's just kind of my opinion on it. Like, that's, I almost feel like, it'd be better to just do these as two separate transactions, do it through PayPal and, goods and services, or, so that there is some money exchanging hands. The annoying thing about that is, you would be losing some money to PayPal fees, but I think both buyer and seller would be protected in that situation. If something were to go wrong, or if like one person did not hold up their end of the bargain. So, that's the part that is a little bit tricky. But I've actually never personally done a trade before, so maybe it's like the next best thing since sliced bread, and I'm missing out. But I personally prefer to just buy my dolls, from the artist, or from whoever's selling the doll that I want, and then when I don't want that doll in my collection anymore, just selling that doll on, and doing it that way. Like, that's just my preference. But I know a lot of people have done trades, and it's nice from that perspective of, like, you don't have to have money exchange hands. Although I feel like that's the safer way to do it, is for both to essentially buy the doll from each other. And that also takes care of the value, situation. So maybe one person has a doll worth 700 and another person's doll is worth 500. Then, they could just each transact to one another and it would be fair, right? So, but again, like, setting prices is sort of subjective. So that's the part that's hard. I also feel like sometimes when I'm selling on a doll, it's because I have too many dolls. So it's not like if I sell a doll and if I, get rid of a doll and then have another one come in its place, I'm not really solving my space problem. So that's another reason that I personally don't tend to be a fan of doing it, because usually when I'm selling, it's because I'm trying to downsize for some reason. Oh my God, this little girl is so sweet. I can't get over her. So, anyway, in terms of life updates, I mean, we are still under the weather. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, it's been like 7 weeks. I've been now a good 2.5 weeks without having any sort of a fever or temperature, even in the 99 range, which is really good. But my husband and my kids and my mother-in-law too, they've all still been getting temperatures in the 99 range. My symptoms are really just a really bad headache. I tend to get a bad headache later in the day, sort of late afternoon, early evening. And that's, and a little bit more fatigue than normal, but I feel like my energy is actually much better than what it was before. So I think all in all, doing a lot better, and that's really, that's really great. I'm like really, really happy about that. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody who has, been praying for us and has been sending positive thoughts. We really appreciate it. I mean, it's just, I haven't had a lot of motivation to, sort of interact with my collection, just because we have been under the weather, and that's been kind of hard, when you're just like not feeling that well. So anyway, I wanted to, just give you guys that update. My husband and my mother-in-law, they all tested negative for COVID. So all of us who got tested negative, which I guess is a really good thing. But it was just strangely disappointing, because we kind of almost, it's like we don't have COVID, but we're also still sick. And so that just sucks that, we have been ill for like this long, and if it's not COVID, there's still the chance that we can kind of get out there and still catch COVID, which is that part is really discouraging. So I'm just like hopeful that we can get a vaccine soon. But I read a really nice article about how, and today's Mother's Day as I'm filming this, but just how that it's really this is actually kind of a special time for those of us who do have kids at home, during and are quarantined with your kids at home. I'm trying to appreciate it for what it is and really cherish that time, with my kids. because they're so little, and they're gonna grow up so fast, and it's just a rare time where they're home all the time, no school. I mean, except for homeschooling, which, let's face it, is kind of a joke. um, like, yeah, they're home, and, we just have, I'm not traveling for work, and we're not going anywhere. So we're just kind of like stuck with each other. And I think it's kind of refreshing and cool in a way. So I was just trying to think about the bright side of being quarantined and trying to make the best of it, and just being thankful for each day, as much as possible. I mean, we're definitely stir crazy, and it's like, it is hard to be home all the time, and our house isn't very big. So, we feel like we're kind of all like stepping over each other all the time. But yeah, if you guys can just continue to keep us in your thoughts. I mean, my mother-in-law had to go home yesterday. She, because my father-in-law has to go back into the office, and they have a puppy, and puppy cannot be left home alone. So yeah, so he drove down, and kind of picked her up, and they drove back together, and um, yeah, and that's that. So anyway, guys, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are all staying safe and well, and just like all of us, I mean, just taking it a day at a time, and um, just trying to, yeah, just just trying to survive each day. And for those of you guys who are feeling sick, I hope you feel better very soon. And I will see you guys on the next video. So I'm gonna have Zoe say goodbye to y'all, and we will talk to y'all soon. Bye.